What up, everybody? Welcome back to Make More Music, the podcast that connects people to music and one another. My name's Chris, and I'm a board-certified music therapist. Thanks for tuning in to the Social Distance Suite. If you're new here, as always, you can connect with us on Instagram at make.more.music. And that is how I first connected with musician and artist Nick Hames. Nick is a multi-instrumentalist, singer-songwriter, and he's got this sweet R&B, John Mayer, Prince influence vibe. I definitely recommend checking out some of his singles. We talk about launching a music career, building up a crazy viral Instagram following, and he posts daily guitar videos on there. So definitely check out his content, and he is dropping an EP next week. So give Nick some love and support. Check out his music and listen to this great interview. He's a Bostonian, and you can hear his cool Boston accent. Without further ado, here's musician and artist Nick Hames. Cool deal, man. Well, Nick, I'm glad to have you here on the podcast. It was cool to randomly connect with you through Instagram, and I'm glad to hear about, launching a music career and hearing all about, you play a lot of instruments. So you're like Hunter Hayes, man, doing like everything. So before we do that, let's hop into some rapid fire real quick. So
Let's do it.
I want you to, whether it's on your phone or whatever, pull open Spotify or Apple Music, whatever you listen to music the most with.
Yep.
What's the last track you listened to?
Oh God, does putting something accidentally on cue count? I guess we'll.
You
count
can
that.
give me that, and then your last intentional play.
This was. I was looking at a playlist, and I accidentally hit cue, and it was "Feel Me" by Selena Gomez. Now let me just tell you, I would never listen to that.
Hey,
ever.
And if you do, it's okay, Nick. You don't have to apologize. No,
I
that's funny.
There's a band I like called Nightly. They're like a 80s type pop band. I listened to a song by theirs called "The Movies." I love it. So that was my last intentional listen on Spotify.
Not Selena. Cool.
Correct.
You can take this one as philosophical as you want. But if you were an instrument, what would you be?
Ooh. I think that the dopest sounding and looking instrument, just in my opinion, is a guitar. I'm sorry, not a guitar, is a saxophone. I just said guitar because that's my thing.
Yeah.
I love the way sax sounds. I love the way it looks. I love the way people look when they play it. It's low key like one of my favorite instruments. So I would totally be a saxophone.
We were joking about that with my friends last week. We were wondering how many times we could sneak in the Careless Whisper motif before people started noticing when we were playing.
Yeah, I love sax.
This can be anything, but what's something that's been inspiring you recently?
It does sound weird. I get inspired a lot by, I want to say it's not just nature, but like, beaches and mountains and just taking drive. Like when I was in California, in January when I was at NAMM, and there's something just about driving like on the ocean side. I don't know what it is. I wish I could pinpoint it, but it just something comes out. It's like what I imagine I'd see when I want to make my music. It's what I would imagine I'd be seeing when I listen to my music, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Did you do like the Highway 1 ride?
I didn't this time. I was also in California because I did a road trip back in October, and we did hit a little bit of Highway 1. But I didn't get a chance to this year. But that drive up through Malibu is the most inspiring. I swear to God, if I could do that every day, I'd have like a Grammy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my dad and I did that Highway 1 drive one time, and we pulled over at Pebble Beach. And I don't know what hole we were by, but there was like 4 deer just grazing right on the green on Pebble Beach. And then, that like lone tree is like on the other side of me. I was like, man, this is like National Geographic right now. Like, what am I looking at?
You
That's
don't
awesome.
think that, especially, because I live in Boston, you don't see stuff like that. And it's not that I think it's better, but it's just different. You know what I mean? Like, you get different stuff when you travel. So
for sure. It's even different. Like here in Kentucky, I'm in the city, and it doesn't even take long to get to a point where you can see hills and valleys and even mountains, but the day to day, I
Yeah.
just see an old city, so that's
Yeah.
cool. It does not have to be music related, but what's a pro tip
Okay.
or a hack that you practice that you feel like other people should know about?
Um, never. This is so cliche. It's not even funny. Never, never believe that you can't do something, whether it be as simple as I can't play this song on guitar, or I can't be famous or something. When I was like 13. I was like, oh, I'll never learn how to play Eruption by Van Halen. And then 6 months later, I played it because I worked at it. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what the subject is. You can work at anything, and it can
I
it,
was
it can happen.
Yeah, I was talking about that same thing on the first episode with Tim Ringgold. I was like, I remember when I got a guitar, and I remember like a year later, I was like 12 or 13, and I remember I finally learned Eruption, and I thought, that's it. I
Yeah,
won't get any better than this.
yeah, you're on the top
Like,
of the world at that point.
yeah, and then you're like, oh man, there's even just harder Van Halen songs I have to
Oh
learn.
yeah,
Not
yeah. That's
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 awesome.
when you start to think, oh wow, I kind of suck.
Yeah. Or you see like some little kid on YouTube who's like 5 years old play
Oh
it,
yeah, playing it with
Yeah.
his feet.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, what is your go-to junk food?
Oh geez. I really, really, really like Skittles. I
Okay.
like Skittles. I've got a bag of chips next to me right now, but it's okay
Ooh.
because I got hummus with it. So I guess that kind of balances it out, right?
Yeah, that negates it, I
Okay.
think. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
totally good.
And I pop marshmallows like there's no tomorrow. It's pretty bad, but
That's funny.
trying to avoid that because summer's coming up.
Yeah, I got to keep the marshmallows to a minimum, man.
Yeah.
What chip are you going for? Or what do you have right now?
Well, actually, right now, they're pretzel crisps.
Oh.
So I mean, that's not junk
So that's
food.
really healthy then. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
Oh,
totally
non-GMO.
good.
Yeah.
Hummus, hummus and
Yeah.
pretzel chip, you're totally fine.
Now I like the Tostitos lime.
I've not
Yeah.
had those.
It's just the regular tortilla chips with a hint of lime on them.
Yeah.
The other day I ate like a whole bag, like an entire family
Oh,
size bag.
with
It's
some
yeah.
guac? Yeah.
No, plain, and everyone makes fun of me.
Oh,
I was at a party and everyone was making fun of me, and I'm like, guys, just let me be.
that is how I feel about Cape Cod chips and Doritos. Like, man,
Oh, I've
those
been to the
don't stand
factory.
a chance.
You should try them right off the lever thing. As soon as they
That
come out
sounds
of the
awesome.
factory, it's awesome.
Oh, wouldn't stand a chance. That's the same as like
Yeah.
Krispy Kreme, like
Oh,
hot and ready.
don't even get
It's
me
like
started.
just put that conveyor belt like right in front of my
You
face.
know what? I'm
Like,
officially changing the answer to donuts. Final answer.
that's okay. There you go. That is $1 million. All right. So, lastly, what is one person, project, or organization that you feel like deserves a shout out?
Um, I honestly, you guys, I think that this is you were very open to working with me. It was as simple as like couple DMs, and we were already getting things started. Um, I listened to a few of your previous podcasts, and I really did enjoy them. And I'm not a podcast guy. I listen to like sports radio sometimes, but I'm typically not a podcast guy. But they're definitely interesting, and you're probably going to get me into podcasts now. So
Yes.
I think I think what you're doing is really good. It's a good idea, and we're both benefiting from it. It's kind of like we're both helping each other out, and I really like it. And I think you're doing a good job so far, and I appreciate you having me on here.
Yeah, dude. Three things. A, when you were talking about being won over to podcasting, I just imagined like Darth Vader, like bum 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 bum. But the other things, guys, it really is that easy. Nick and I just hit it up on Instagram. So like we're an open book here. We're an open community. So speaking of that, that's a good transition to, well, man, tell me about your life. Go all the way back to the beginning of what are some of your earliest musical memories?
Oh boy! All right, so my parents pulled out a picture of me when I was 2 once, and I
Oh,
had a guitar in that picture. However, I wasn't playing since then. It was just every little kid has a guitar when they're younger. Um,
Yeah.
I started taking lessons when I was 6. I started in
On guitar?
yes. When
Wow,
I
that's real
was
early.
Yeah, I know. It was ridiculous. Had no idea what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing. But it was January. So my birthday's in March, and it was the January right before I turned 7. So technically 6. I took lessons at a place down the street from my house. Still good friends with my teacher today. Um, sorry. I played them. I took a break when I was 11, I believe. I
Yeah.
I don't know what I was just wasn't feeling it. It was only for like a summer, and then I got right back into it. And then when I was in 7th grade, I started listening to Prince a lot. Prince's. Obviously I started
Yeah.
listening to Purple Rain first, and then I dug down deep until I basically knew every Prince song. Like it was ridiculous. I knew stuff that was unreleased. I'm not going to mention how I obtained that material, but I do have stuff that was, unreleased. And I started learning that Prince plays all his instruments on most of at least his first 4 to 5 albums. So
Yeah.
I took the initiative. I was like, I want to be like Prince. So I started teaching myself piano and drums. And then bass is definitely different than guitar. But if you play guitar, you can play bass. I don't play it
Mhm.
well, but I just started picking up all these different instruments, and I just wanted to, teach myself how to play them. And not that I regret anything about taking guitar lessons. They're probably what helped me in the long run. But taking these other instruments and learning them was a very quick process for me. I was playing drums after a month or two. I basically would just sit down and just play. And then pianos, anyone can learn piano. It's a pretty easy instrument. Um, and I would go through phases of like focusing on different instruments. Like I would still always play guitar, but I know there was like a year, it was in like when I was in 8th grade, I would just play piano all the time. And then, freshman year of high school, I would play drums, all the way up until I almost auditioned for Berkeley to play drums.
Oh, wow.
Because I was so into drums, and just unfortunately, I haven't been on them as much. But I love drums. So I started writing songs around high school, like freshman, sophomore year. I released, I started to release stuff on SoundCloud that would get like 40 views. And I thought that, oh my God, that's so many people.
Yeah.
And, and the recordings were just absolute garbage, but you got to start somewhere, I guess.
What were you recording on back then? What were you using to?
I had, you would go onto Google and type in like free audio software. And
Uh-huh.
it was like a 5-day, whatever free trial or something. So
Oh,
I
so
would
not even like Audacity. You're using
no
this like
no I
free.
yep, it was simple free stuff. I barely even knew what I was doing. Um, and then after that, I got a laptop and I started using GarageBand, which
Mhm.
is honestly, I really don't have anything bad to say about it. It's just a digital audio workstation. I mean,
Yeah.
it
No, that's
works. Yeah.
great.
So I did that, and then I would occasionally, like, if I got birthday money or something, I would use it to go down to the studio and record in the studio. And but I would soon, come to realize that studio time's not cheap, and you get nothing
Oh,
done in an
geez.
hour. $100 an
No.
hour gets you nowhere. So
That's
then,
like checking the microphones at best. Yeah, yeah.
exactly, yeah, we'd set up the guitar amp, and then he's like, "All right, you gonna, you got another hour ahead." I was like, "Dude, what? We didn't." I thought I was gonna track everything in an hour,
I
and
had 13 songs ready. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I was like, "Dude, we'll have the album done by tomorrow, right?" And, yeah,
And
I
you'll
start,
mix it tonight, right?
yeah, I had no idea about any of this stuff. I was just, you gotta learn. You eventually learn, but um,
So
yeah,
were you like the only person of your friends doing that, or were other people kind
it,
of learning those
it's
at the same
it's
time?
it's it's funny because like my closest friends here, um, rather than ones I met like on Instagram, which I'll talk about that after. But like my closest friends that I grew up with, I stayed within the same friends group, basically from middle school up until like graduating high school. I pretty much stay with my closest friends, and none of them are musicians. Zero.
Hmm.
There's one singer I sing with occasionally, but everyone's into like a lot of them are into video games, and I'm into sports, so we we have that sort of connection. But they like music, but none of them are really musicians.
You're the music guy. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been hard to connect when we all hang out and all I want to do is play guitar. But I learned to just realize that it's just what I do, and it's just like how they play video games. That's I play guitar. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
A couple of fun questions. Were you in any bands at that time? And if so, I gotta know the band's names. That's
oh
the
my
best
god,
thing to hear these awesome high school band names.
yeah,
Or even middle school, maybe.
I heard this. I heard this on your last podcast. Oh my god. So I was in a band called called Sold Out, and we played a gig out of a stage, or we played on a stage that my dad built out of 2x4s in my backyard, and we like were like trying to charge people tickets. We made like $50,
That's a
and
good dad.
yeah, yeah, thank God. And that was when I was in like 7th or 8th grade, and then
Sold out.
yeah, Sold Out. Yeah, God, awful.
I love it.
And then that's really the only. I used to play with a drummer a lot. His name was Cam. He was a really good friend of mine. Um, and we would just do like like I would play guitar and he'd play drums, and we'd just jam. We were never in like a set band really.
Mm-hmm.
But it was basically Sold Out. And then my uncle he's a professional drummer. He would play with me sometimes, and my guitar teacher would play bass. So I mean,
Oh,
we didn't
cool.
really have a name for that. We did start playing though, like a couple years ago when I was more, I was older, and we basically I call that the Nick Ames trio. If we don't get together much, but if it's me, my uncle plays the drums, and then my guitar teacher will play bass. We basically just call our the Nick Ames trio. Pretty self-centered, but
Yeah. Well, sometimes you got to go with the simple name that's right in
yeah,
front of
yeah,
you.
yeah.
So, what you're learning these Prince songs. What year was this? Because I think that's important. You're like in the 2000s learning all these Prince songs, right?
Yeah, it was like 20 it was like 2010. I would have been in no, it was like 2009, cuz I was in 7th. I My first year of high school was 2011. Yeah, 2009. I basically like I knew like 1999. I knew Purple Rain kind of, but I remember exactly what happened. I was going to Disney World with my family, and I was on the
Mm-hmm.
plane, and I was listening to like whatever that radio station is, and I believe it was 1999 came on, and I was like, "Damn, like what is this?" And then I was like, "Oh, Prince!" Like, and my dad loves Prince, and he used to play Purple Rain, the whole album, but I never really knew it. And then once I got off the plane, I dug into Prince that whole vacation. So, and then I started learning like his first album, For You. Like, a lot of people don't really understand, like they don't really know his early stuff, but he
Mm-hmm.
was 18 years old playing everything, writing everything, and that's really what inspired me. I don't
That's
talk
cool.
about him much, but he's definitely like one of, if not my biggest inspiration, if we were thinking in a broad scope.
Oh, I can definitely hear it in your music. You've got kind of this like soul as well as pop, as well as like this 80s element. It's kind of popular right now too, but I can hear it in an authentic way in your arrangement of how, the synth is doing a groove or there's a
Yeah.
programmed element and things. So it's funny to hear you say that, you're high schooler, middle schooler that's at Disney World with the earbuds in, just like tuning out the world and listening
Yeah.
to Prince.
And of
So
course, when I get back, I'm trying to tell all my friends to listen to Prince, and they're all looking at, the cover of his album Dirty Mind, and they're seeing Prince in a thong, and they're like, "What are you in?" And I'm in. So that, that kind of that didn't
you're
help.
like, this is classic. Yeah,
They're
yeah,
like, "No, it's just an Usher instead." I was like, "Nah,
yeah.
I'm good."
2009. Yeah, yeah. Dun
Yeah,
dun dun dun. Yeah, people were
yeah,
still
yeah.
dancing to
That's
that.
all I heard. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
never listened to that stuff, so I was always the outlier, but I really wouldn't change a thing about it.
that's cool, man. So I read your bio and saw that you got into Berkeley, but you decided not to do at least Berkeley. You didn't go to music school, did you?
No, yeah, well, no, I didn't go to music school, but yes, I did. I did apply for Berkeley, and I it's just wasn't for me. You know what I mean? Like
No, totally. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
for everyone. It's if what I'm trying to do is be an artist and entertain people and make a living that way, and you
Yeah.
don't need a degree to do that. Almost all the successful musicians, most of them, or at least half of them, they don't have a degree. They just know what they're doing, or they just make good music, and that's really all I want to do. I don't. I thought about it again recently, but it's just the same thought. It's like it's also so expensive,
It is very, very, very expensive.
and people say like, "Oh, you live in Boston, it'll be cheap." It's like, no, you don't get it. It is not cheap. So I'd just rather focus on making the music, and becoming an artist rather than studying it so hard that I don't want to play anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's not even Berkeley. What one thing I didn't realize in college is I had friends that came from, the Northeast and New England area that came down to Kentucky for college because paying out of state to go to Louisville was cheaper than going to any of the schools around them
Oh yeah.
in
I
the
mean, you got to
Northeast.
think
It's
of.
just all the schools are more expensive.
Yeah, I mean, Boston in and of itself, it's got, we got MIT, we got Yale. No, we don't have Yale. What am I saying? MIT, Harvard. We have Harvard. We got Berkeley, we got the conservatory. It's
Even Boston
really,
University, yeah.
yeah, BU, BC. Um, and then I mean Connecticut's pretty close to us. It's only about an hour away, and they've got,
Mhm.
and then Rhode Island's got Brown and all that. It's competitive up here, and it's a lot of smart people. You feel pretty dumb if you don't get into those schools, let me tell you.
So you decide this path is not for you, and I think that's a great decision. Everybody's got to kind of walk through why music school, because like you said, it's not for everybody.
Yeah, so
But
this
you've
is
been grinding it out for a couple of years now. So what made you decide to take this move, and how long have you kind of been going into launching this artist career?
so it was I was writing in high school, and I mean, I've always had the thought like I want to play on a stage for a million people, but it never really hit me. I'll tell you what the exact event that happened was that made me realize that I could possibly do this and that I should try. Um, I got I was going to college. I got accepted to University of New Hampshire, which is about an hour away from me. I went for 1 year, and then I left to attend a school closer to my house where I could just commute. But
Hmm.
I lived up there for a year, and well, first off, I met some of the greatest people of my entire life up there. That was one of the best years of my life. It was just I met so many amazing people, and it was just an amazing time. I so when I said that I had the same group of friends since I was a kid, like really young. My school basically had this, there would be the few kids that would go in and out, but like I basically grew up with, a bunch of people that I knew from when I was little, back up all the way up until we were starting to go to college. I don't know if it just wasn't that they just didn't like it, if I was bad then, or if they just got it just got stale to them. But when I would play guitar, people would just be like, "Oh, good job, blah blah blah," whatever. When I went to UNH when I was in college, I remember I brought my guitar into the lounge and was jamming with my friend. And the next thing I know, I looked up and there's like 25 people in there, and
Mm,
everyone was like, "Dude, like this is awesome. Like, what are you doing?" And then
yeah.
I would sit down and have a talk with some of my friends, and they were like, "Nick, listen, like you should just go for it. It's like what are you doing here? Like just try." It's like the least you can do is try. And then I would do like open mics down at the college, and just people would be like, "Dude, like this is awesome. I love what you're doing." And then that just kind of motivated me to just be like, why not? Let me just do this. I mean, if I'm getting people to support me here, and it was unintentional too. It's like I didn't even have a music page at this time. I was
Yeah.
just kind of jamming around, yeah. And people would come by. They'd be like, "Nick, can I come over? Can we jam? Can we just hang out?" And people would just come in and drink a 12 pack, and they would just be like, "Nick, play Welcome to the Jungle." "Play Sweet Child of Mine." It's just like,
dig it, dig it, dig it,
yeah.
dig it. That's
And it
awesome.
was that's really what made me start, like, move forward with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we get kind of into what you're doing now, you're a big gear nerd. So tell me, what is kind of some of your favorite pieces of gear that you like to use, or what's your main setup, things like that?
I have it right next to me. Let me go through the entire board. All right. So, I work with some companies that I use their stuff and I promote it because I absolutely love it. There is in no way anyone paying me to say anything or anything. It's just simply because I love the work that these companies do. Um,
Sweet.
so what I have going on I have a board. It's a little smaller than usual right now. I'm using a Princeton reverb amp. It's a limited edition. It's tweed finish. It's not the black one. It's a tweed finish. It's
Sweet.
got a 12-inch Cannabis Rex in it. Going
My
from
brother
that,
really likes that speaker a lot.
oh yeah, it sounds, it's to average people, they really can't tell the difference. But like for people who play and musicians, like you can tell it's a much bigger sound. It sounds like, it doesn't sound like a 12-inch speaker. It kind of sounds like two tens maybe. It's definitely a
Cool.
wider sound, which I like. I'm going into a Diodario foot tuner, which is they make a tuner pedal. There I'm going into my Keeley Electronics Daniel Donato signature compressor, which I entered a contest playing with. You just had to upload a video you playing and tag Daniel in it, and I ended up winning. So he sent me the pedal, and I've had the pleasure of meeting him a couple times, and he's the nicest guy.
Ooh.
He's down. I'm sure you know who he is. He's down in Tennessee right now.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna try and see him. He's on tour right now, and he's coming into Lexington, which is where I grew up. So I'm gonna try and go see him on tour next.
Yeah, it's
actually,
awesome.
It's
I
later
saw
this
him.
month now. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him last year. He was great, and I'm seeing him again this year. He's the nicest person I've ever met. So he sent that when I won the contest, and I used that. I love it. From there, I go into an Analog Man King of Tone pedal.
Oh, solid.
Do you know about those? These are
Yeah, my brother is on the waiting list right now.
yeah. So I was stupid, and I wasn't on the waiting list, and I just bought it for 20 times more what it's worth on Reverb. But it's the best pedal in the world, so I use that. Then from there, I go into it depends on the kind of mood I'm getting. I use an old Tube Screamer. It's the TS10, not the TS9 or the TS8. It's the weird looking one. It's the one that John Mayer.
Stevie Ray Vaughan one. Yeah.
So Stevie Ray Vaughan uses his is really old. This one I think was 1993 or 4. If you type in on Google John Mayer Tube Screamer, it's that one. It's weird.
I know which one. Yeah. I thought that he had used that one too.
Maybe I'll have to look at that. I'm so gear out of my mind. I forget things. From there, I go into a Eventide H9 Max, which is probably the most utilized or most, it's just the best pedal ever. What this thing doesn't make any sense to me. It's just the amount of I Want to Fly, my new song, has that beginning like weird noise is actually
that. I was going to ask you about that, like that like whale sound thing you got going on.
It's an effect on the H9. It's a preset. So that's really cool that it just can inspire me to do stuff like that. And then I go into a Strymon Volante or a Strymon Timeline. I can change it those. And then I go into the Strymon Big Sky. And this changes pretty much every day. Like I just change every day. I've got so many pedals. I've got all Strymon's pedals. I got, a bunch of Boss pedals. Like I use the Boss Blues Driver a ton. So yeah.
It's a rabbit hole. You can fall way
brutal.
Down.
Yeah, I had to cut down a little bit because it's just too much stuff. And then
what's the coolest thing you've seen recently?
The coolest? Oh, that's a good question. I don't have one, but when I was at NAMM, there were two things that made me just be like, "Holy crap!" There's a guitar called it's actually a software on the guitar called High Vibe, and it's an ampless It's almost like a toned wood amp. It basically it's inside the guitar and like it can loop itself. So like
Oh,
it's nuts. Um, it loops itself. It's got like delay and reverb, but it's only on the guitar, and you can like it's insane. I can't even like fathom it. It's so hard to explain how it works. I don't even know if I know how it works, but
I'm gonna have to look that
it's
up.
got a
I,
bunch of
I hadn't
onboard
heard anything
effects.
about that. Yeah.
No, it's absolutely insane. I like literally I was looking at it. I was like, how is this even possible? There was that, yeah, and then the new jam stick. It's actually a guitar,
Yeah,
and you
I've seen
plug it in.
those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you plug it in, and it's got real strings. They just came out with a new one, and so I was like at NAMM playing like synth stuff with a guitar. It was insane.
Yeah, they brought that to our music therapy conference, and I kept thinking, I was like, I don't know how many music therapists are going to be buying this, but I think it's super cool to try.
Oh yeah,
So,
I mean it's like a production. It's gonna be a production machine. I plan on getting one. There's just no reason I shouldn't have one of those. I totally need one because it can bring so many different things to the table.
yeah, that 2.0, it's going to have a lot more features and
Oh
be able
yeah,
to do. Yeah, it's really cool.
yeah.
So,
That's gonna be one of the most justifiable purchases I ever make.
yeah. Um, so you've been writing songs for a long time. What made you, pick these songs? You've got how many singles out now?
So right now I have four. Four.
4.
Yes, I
What made
have.
you get to those? Are those all recent songs? How did you start this launch of this new phase of, you know what? You know, I've been playing in the dorm. I've done some open mics. I'm ready to make that jump. How
Yeah.
did you decide what you were going to present?
So I knew I wanted to release a song that had guitar elements to it, but didn't just focus on guitar. I wanted it to be poppy, but with guitar. Um, so last year when I was at NAMM, I just started jamming on a guitar, on my friend's guitar when I was staying with him, and I just came up with this weird riff. And I playing it over and over, and then he comes over and he starts humming stuff. And I had my voice memos going, so he was humming some weird melodies, and then I ended up taking some of those melodies and putting um, like a trumpet sound. So it was the first song was Venice. I
Hmm.
wrote that pretty quickly, recorded it pretty quickly, and released it last April. Um, I loved it, of course, because every time you make a song, you think it's the best song in the world, and then
Yeah.
after your ear fatigue wears off, you're like, ah. But I just started to tell myself, I was like, Nick, you just gotta start throwing stuff out there because there are things that I don't like by artists that people love. So like
Yeah.
someone's bound to like it. Maybe millions of people will like it, maybe they won't. But I just want to put this out because that's just how I just want to start releasing music. And I really used one of my his name's Corey Young. He's one of my good friends. Um, we were about the same like tier on Instagram. We had like the same number of followers, and then he started releasing music, and I was like, and he got really big really fast, and I was just looking, I was like, why don't I do that? And I was like, I don't have an excuse. I can do
Hmm.
that. I'm just not. And then I was like, all right, I'm just gonna stop being lazy. So I started doing that. Went on a huge hiatus from like April all the way to November. Then I released my second song called Closure. I had a riff that it was just chords for like months, and then someone commented on it. One of my friends, like, he went back and commented it on my Instagram, and he was like, dude, please make this into a song. So I was like, all right, whatever. So I tried, and instantly I just came up with these weird, you know like, if anyone ever listens to the song, it's got the chorus where it's really high. That was actually a guitar
Hmm.
part before. And that's what I do, really. I just do find little like licks and like melodic stuff that works, and then I transpose it to either words or guitar parts, or vice versa. I'll change like melodies into guitar licks. So I did Closure, and then I kind of had a spree where I didn't have writer's block. It was really good, and I took advantage of it. I just started writing a bunch of tunes. There are still a bunch that aren't even recorded or released. Um, but I just started, banging them out, and then I released my third one, Dream Again, and I wrote that song in about an hour. So that was when I was like, okay, like, I need to keep this train running because if any songwriters listening, that writer's block is just the worst. It is just
Hmm.
awful because you sit there and you can't write, you can't be creative. and you're like, why not? And then the next day, out of nowhere, you're just like, boom, and
Or,
it's
yeah,
crazy.
in the dead of sleep or in the shower. It's always,
Yeah,
yeah,
and that's
always
actually weird
random.
that you say that. I woke up the other morning, and it was like 5:30, and I was still half asleep, and I had my guitar in my hands, and I was like playing something, and I recorded it on my voice memo. It was like it was weird. I was like dreaming it. It was like Yesterday by the Beatles or something. Because like I
Yeah,
know that he wrote that song, like he woke up and wrote it immediately. I don't know if it'll end up being anything, but it was just weird because you never know when
we can
inspiration's gonna strike.
yeah, we can all hope it'll be a Yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
of the best songs of
Oh
all
yeah,
time.
I wish.
No, so that's pretty cool though, man. And your tracks all groove so hard, and you've got these pop songs with guitar solos. And what is that like? You, you're still doing a lot of the instrumentation, right? Or are you hiring other musicians? What does that look like for your recording time?
Yeah, so the first song, Venice, recorded it in a real studio. I played all the instruments with real drums. I did all the guitars and all the vocals. I don't mix my stuff. I produce it, however. Now, that's something I would confuse myself with. I thought that producing was technically mixing and mastering. And then I realized that producing is kind of just bringing the song to life, like
Hmm.
adding elements to it. So do I produce my songs. I don't mix and master them. So that first song, Venice, I played all the instruments. On the second song, Closure, I played everything except I programmed some drums because it was like an electronic drum. Same thing with Dream again, all the instruments except drums. And same thing with I Want to Fly. I played everything except the drums. I had my good friend Chris Rayner down in he lives down in South Carolina, and he played the drums on I Want to Fly, and I absolutely love. He is the best drummer I know, and he's amazing. So I had him send over the files, and then we added those in. But everything else, I basically produced and played all the instruments for, which I love doing. I love kind of not having to argue with people and realizing that if the idea doesn't stick with the song and like this kind of like doesn't sound as good as I thought, it's like all right, it's my fault. I don't want to
It's
put out
on you. Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to put something out and then people say I don't like this and it wasn't me that did it, and then I kind of like I don't want to get mad at people, but like I'd rather take the blame for stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in this kind of modern industry, you're launching this career and putting out singles into the world. You're building this big Instagram following. Are you playing out much right now, or is this still just kind of in the laboratory kind of environment, or what does that look like?
Yeah. So I play. There's a bar in my town that I play at occasionally, every few months. I just kind of do it to just practice performing
Stay
live.
fresh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then I'm actually in a cover band that we do like 90s and we do like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and now it's just kind of like
Ooh.
we do like events like barbecues and um
Whatever. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we just do random gigs, and it's good because when I perform live by myself, I basically use an acoustic and a loop pedal, and then when I get to play with
Mm.
the band, I get to focus more on playing lead guitar rather than
Yeah.
having the whole thing be about me. I can kind of sit back and do my thing on the guitar, which is good. But I'm hoping by the end of this year, maybe September, Octoberish, I'm hoping to do a mini tour of like,
Sweet.
the big cities. Like, I'd like to hit New York City, um, Los Angeles, Chicago, um, basically just kind of like do a test run. I definitely do
Yeah.
want to get out and play because I've had people ask me, like they'd want me to come play. So I definitely would like to try it out. I would be playing every night if I could. But I'd rather right now I'm trying to get more music in my catalog, original
Yeah.
music, so that I can have a full set. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And well, you've built up a pretty wild Instagram following for four singles out right now. So what do you do that has made you so successful connecting with people through social media?
Yeah, so I'll tell you a quick story about how that even started. I was taking a drive to my friends in Rhode Island, and that's about an hour drive from Boston. I filmed a video of me playing "Vultures" by John Mayer on a
Hmm.
loop pedal. So I like looped the drums, and then I'd play the guitar parts, and it kind of built up into like this. it sounded like the song because I was doing like an octave pedal for the bass. So I just uploaded it nonchalantly on my Instagram. And then I looked at my phone. I stopped, to use the restroom, and I looked on my phone, and I realized like, what's going on? I got like 1,000 followers in like 2 hours, and I was like, what is happening? So I was like, all right, that's weird. So then I got to my friend's house, and I was staying for the weekend, and then I just kept opening my Instagram, and I was like, dude, look at this! Like my followers are going up like crazy. So I started understanding how like things can go viral on Instagram and how you can get like in the Instagram algorithm, they call it. So
Yeah.
I just found a
Blessed by the
couple of,
Instagram gods. Yeah.
yeah, Jesus, my God, thank you. So I started realizing like how to kind of just make better videos and better content. And then I would just, I was kind of known for a while as doing loop covers. Like I know that my video of me playing Michael Jackson's Billie Jean as a loop cover, you know, got tons of views, and I would get a lot of, I'd get a lot of shit for it because people would say like, "Oh, this is not even good," but it was more about the creativity idea that people liked. So I would
Yeah.
get like
And you're
I got
like,
like a
I
ton of
don't care. They're, yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's like up there. Yeah, who's following you, by the way? Yeah, I would always have these snarky remarks, but
There are trolls
oh yeah,
everywhere
brutal.
on every crevice of the internet,
Yeah,
and we don't feed them.
good. Yeah, exactly. Don't ever feed them. So
No.
I started just doing that over the years, and then I just, started working with some companies, and then, just ended up getting, I was lucky enough to be one of the people who, got that kind of break. You know how like people have their one song that breaks them into the industry. It was kind of like I had like that video that kind of broke me into it, and then I started doing more content just like it. And then I was hitting, I was getting the K after my followers, like 10K, 20K. And then that's really after I realized that, these people really liked the way I was playing and what I was doing. I was like, all right, if these people are here to support me, then let me start doing original music. So
Mm.
I started, basically saying, okay, well, if I've got these many followers on Instagram, let's try to make some songs and see if people listen to them. So started like cross promoting myself on Instagram, and then which, by the way, everyone, it's not as easy as it looks. Just because you have 20,000 Instagram followers doesn't mean you're going to have 20,000 Twitter followers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's been
Yeah.
kind of trying
And
to balance.
converting that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy, because people like, I'm an Instagram guy, like that's my thing, and there are people who are Twitter people and they don't have any Instagram followers. So I've been trying to like figure out how to balance everything out, but I'm not as much focused anymore about getting more followers on Instagram. It's more of I'm trying to get my music out there. But if
That's
it
good.
wasn't for Instagram, I don't know where I would be. Like it really helped me with everything because I've met people that I never would have met. I've made friends, some of my best friends on Instagram. It's just crazy. You have no idea like what people don't understand how awesome the internet can be. It can be awful, but it can be awesome at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a mirror to humanity, and humanity can
Yeah.
be very dark and very uh, places you don't want to go. And then there can be the connection and, the relationships, just like your best friends that you're saying.
Yeah,
So
it's
I think
amazing.
people are opening up to that this day and age more and more. And it's more and more common to have a friend who's like, oh, not only did they meet that person online, they're actually married to that person now and they have
Yeah,
a happy marriage. Like
I
it's
know.
not, those myths are going away some. So
It's crazy. And you got to be open to it. It's just the way life is now. And if I took advantage of it, and it helped me become, where I am today, and who knows where it will bring me in the future. You never know.
before we get back to serious talk, this decade span, I want you to give me a song from each decade that is your favorite one to play.
It sounds good. I love is Twist and Shout from the 60s? Yes.
I think the Beatles version of it, yeah, for sure.
Yes, the Beatles, yeah. So that one from the 60s. I love playing China Grove. I believe that's from the 70s.
Yeah, I think so. If not
Yeah.
late 60s, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that'll count. We'll count that as 70s.
We'll count it. We'll
Yeah.
count Doobie
If
Brothers
not,
as
listen to the
70s.
music. I love playing that. believe it or not, because I use a bunch of pedals for this song, playing I Ran So Far Away by the Flock of Seagulls is
I can hear that a little bit in your music too. I can hear the flock of seagulls. Yeah.
it's like it's because I use a chorus pedal on some parts. I use 2 delay pedals, and it's just so much fun. And our band does it really well. So that's
I
definitely
love
that's.
that you're not afraid of chorus. And I
Oh
think that's
no,
awesome. What
no, dude.
chorus do you like to use?
So I was using the Strymon Mobius chorus that was on that
Hmm.
pedal. I recently I traded that for something else. It's actually supposed to be here tomorrow. I am getting a Bossy H1 Boss chorus because that's just typically, you know, that's like
That's
your
what I have on
typical
my
chord.
board. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I do actually I haven't gotten it to work correctly because it is a little complicated with the way to power it. I do have a Boss DC2 from
Cool.
1983, um, which
Yeah. I
is
can see
nuts.
why it's tricky to power. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I power it
Temperamental.
on. Yeah, it gets a little distorted, so I put that away for a bit, and plus it's a rare pedal. I don't want it to get, destroyed at the bars. So, um,
Yeah.
so
That
that's
CH1 will live forever. You could throw that
yeah, and
just across
I
the
got it
room.
for like $50, so it's perfect.
Yeah. That's
So,
great.
the song from the '90s, um, that song Santeria is from the '90s, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sublime. Yeah.
that's right. I'm so bad. That's always a jam to play. I got a good solo in that, and then the 2000s. We do well actually this is 90s, but Slide by the Goo Goo Dolls, that's one of my
Hmm.
favorite songs ever. That the band just recently started doing that. I convinced them to do that, and that's one of my favorite songs ever. Like
It's a good
hands
one.
down. I don't know why. It's just I love that song. But 2000s, I can't really think of anything we do from the 2000s. More of like 2000, like I know there's a Miley Cyrus song called I can't wait to see you again. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you again. Whatever.
Yeah.
That song's fun. And then we do we do Feel It Still. That's a fun song too.
Hmm.
And then we
That's
do
fun.
Crazy by Gnarls Barkley. That's probably a good 2000s example.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a good
that's a
one.
good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we make it jazzy. So
That's fun. So what do you all call this band?
it's called Generation Knot. KNOT.
Love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I can just imagine. Speaking of not, yeah, I can imagine being at like a yacht club and people just
Oh yeah.
loving that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and before I joined, because I actually joined them, I thought it was a metal band. I thought the name, I don't know why, it just made me think metal. But then I joined, and I was like, oh no, this is perfect. Like I fit well in it because it's fun to. It's like I said, it's fun to like do what I'm there for and have it not be all about me. And it's just a great time, because playing for people and having people dance, it's awesome.
I mean, I love those kind of things. And I grew up getting into those. I showed up to the blues jam nights and I was the 15-year-old they let come into that. So just seeing like
Yeah,
being a teenager and seeing like adults like what you're doing, you're like, what is this?
yeah,
It's
yeah. You
crazy.
you think it's impossible, like I said earlier, and then you just realize, oh, if you work hard, you can get there one day.
Especially local things like it's like, wow, these people are pretty easy to please. I don't even feel like I'm that good. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's something else too. It's like these most of the gigs we play involve, drinking on weekends. So it's like even if I, mess up the solo to Don't Stop Believing, it's like people are like, yeah, let's go.
Like
And
that
it's just
was
like, all right.
awesome.
Yeah. It's like, all right, fine, let's do it.
Cool. Well, you are very positive and you've got an awesome outlook about, achieving, reaching out, and you're kind of really going for it. But what are some of, the rough spots? What's been hard getting through this transition of launching this career?
So one of the hardest things is as simple as it or as I'm sorry, as unimportant as it may sound, getting my music heard to people outside of my bubble is really 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 stressful and really aggravating because you can just promote it all you want. You can I don't do this, but you can spam people like on comments on Instagram and Twitter. It never works. um, it's very very hard to get your music heard by people who don't know who you are. Getting on these Spotify playlists, getting into
Yeah.
YouTube playlists. It is very frustrating and can bring you down a lot. I had a moment last week where I was really just kind of like down in the dumps, and my song, I remember when my one of my songs came out, it got like 200 plays in the first day, and I was just so upset. And then my song Dream Again got like 2,000 the first day, and it's just like I'm like trying to weigh these, like, why did this get more? Why did this? And it's very frustrating. But I know I do talk to some of my friends who are more successful, and they just keep telling me like, hey, this happens to everyone. You just got to keep going. So I
Grind it
do,
out. Yeah.
yeah, I try to keep a positive attitude. Another thing is booking shows is not easy if you don't have an in. Um, but I'm not gonna let that stop me, because you just gotta know what to do and ask people. You can't be afraid to ask for help when you need it, and you
Mm.
can't be afraid to admit that you're wrong, and all this stuff. So,
Or
but I'd
yeah,
say
that
one
you're
of the
learning that you don't know yet. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and you got to be open minded, and especially this is probably the industry where you have to be the most open minded, because what the producer's telling you could be the next hit, and you don't know, and you have to take risks, and it's a hard industry. It really is. And I'm just brushing the surface of it right now, so
Yeah.
hopefully I can
And
keep going. But I'm ready for it. It's just that it is hard, and I understand that.
yeah, and everything is loosey goosey and subjective, so it's hard to
Yes, it's very
know
confusing.
the magic 8 ball. You can shake it as hard as you want, but yeah,
Yep, you
doesn't
never know.
necessarily mean things will shake up. And I know how it goes. Even just launching this podcast last month, I've just gotten to the point where it's like you look at numbers once a week. You look at the analytics once a week, and it's not. It can be so obsessive.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
I look at my that's a problem that I've been trying to fix with myself, is that I check like who's listening to my, because Spotify has an app called Spotify for Artists where you can see who's listening right now, and I'll be obsessively looking at that like 50 times a day. And then when it would be 25 people listening, I'm like, hell yeah. And then when it was 5 people listening or 2 people listening, it's like it's kind of toxic in a way. So
yeah,
I just kind of said, Nick, just check it, just whatever. Don't even check it, because the analytics update every night. So I was like, just check it once a day. Check it
yeah.
at night once they update, and you can see how the day went. But don't judge, your moment for the whole day, because when I'm not looking, there could be 200 people listening. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, but
it's
it's
like,
so arbitrary. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You don't know what people are doing on their commute home or whatever. So,
Yeah, or when I'm sleeping, because I've got people who follow me around the world. So I don't know what's going on over in India when I'm sleeping, or Japan, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
that's awesome, man. Well, to kind of transition out of this rough spot, I want you to think about you've already talked about you've had these cool opportunities, met these cool people. What are some of your favorite memories so far in what you've been able to do with your budding music career?
Yeah. So I went to this was not too early on, but pretty early on. I'd say within my first year of doing the whole Instagram thing, getting in the algorithm and starting to actually get known. I I got invited by Fender to an event in New York City. Um, so I went to New York, and they were releasing a new guitar called the the California series. It was
Sweet.
a line of acoustic guitars and ukuleles, and promoting their Fender Play, which is a program that lets you learn how to play guitar like step by step. So I got
Mm,
invited to
yep.
that event, and there was a panel, and then there was an event at night where a band called the Mr. Wives played, and they they just treated me so well, and it was an honor to, and that's something I know I said this 3 times now, but like when I was younger, I would have never thought that I would be working with Fender. And then
Yeah, like
yeah, out of
the
nowhere,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's like out of nowhere, it's surreal, and I enjoyed every moment and took none of it for granted. So that was a great time. There's a YouTuber. His name is Sawyer Hartman. He's come to be a good friend of mine. He is a photographer and a YouTuber. He's got like almost two. I'm pretty sure he has 2 million subscribers. And he hit me up one day. He's like, Nick, I love your, because I would do a lot of John Mayer covers, and he's a huge John Mayer fan. So we kind of connected that way. And then when I went out to LA last year for NAMM, he's like, I didn't have a place to stay. And he's like, dude, like, come stay with me. So I stayed with him and his girlfriend, and he's awesome. And I would have never met him if it was for Instagram. Like, there's literally a 0 to billion chance I would have ever met him if I hadn't had Instagram. So he's a really good friend. And then I met three of my closest friends: Corey Young, Chase Steven, and Harrison. Shout out to them. They're like some of my closest friends, and I met them through Instagram because we all play music and we all do it. We all love what we do, and we were all kind of in the same boat. Like, we were just all blowing up at the same time, and we connected. And I don't get to see them too often because we live all over the country, but we talk every single day, and that's probably my favorite memory, is meeting my good people who became good friends of mine.
Yeah, as fun as things are and events are, it always comes down to relationships. So,
yeah.
Well, to kind of wrap things up then, I want you to think about, what your music does to people, what you hope it does, and what it will do in the future. And give me the how and the why that you inspire others to make more music.
Yeah, so I put myself in their shoes, because I know that whether it be a band that's extremely famous, like, or a person like John Mayer, who's my idol, whether it be him or whether it be a band that's not as big, or a person that's not as big, like someone named Bernhoft, who I love, he's from Norway. It gives me the same effect seeing them. It doesn't matter how big they are; it matters what the music does. So I've been kind of putting myself in their shoes, or in my own shoes, technically, from a different perspective.
Yeah, giving yourself that license.
Yeah, saying that, all right, I may not be that big, but like, I wonder if my music is going to strike them the way other people's music has struck me. And I basically try to make music about generic situations. I won't give away exactly what all my songs are about, but my first song, Venice, is about just someone. It's about, like, because everyone knows, like, when you're in a relationship and you have someone, and then you want to break up with them, and then once you guys break up, you're like, wait, no, I don't want to break up. It didn't happen to me, but that's basically like something that happens to everyone. You want what you can't have, is basically the overall perspective of this. So I'm just
singing
thinking
about that for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just try to make songs that mean something, but also can be interpreted in ways where anyone can connect to them. And
yeah,
I've also taken into effect that there are songs that I do not connect to, but I love. They're just unreal songs, and they make me emotional when they're not even emotional. It's just weird the way, and I'm just kind of saying, well, all right, you don't have to necessarily make songs about certain things. Just make what you love, and then someone will like it at some point.
What's one that hits you like that?
A song by someone else?
Yeah, that you say you wouldn't expect it on that topic or whatever, but it just gives you the feels for whatever reason.
Yeah, there's a song called It Was Love by Laney, which is one of my favorite bands ever. And they're not even guitar related. They're like pop. I think I'm pretty sure it's about like someone who the singer grew up with, and then he's loved her all these years, and then she's like married now, but he can't have her, but he, said that I still loved you for all these years. And it's telling you, if you listen to the song, it brings back memories that you didn't know existed. It's funny because I saw a comment on YouTube, and it said, why does this make me sad and bring back memories that I didn't even know existed? And I was like, dude, you are so right. It's the weirdest thing. It's just, and I can be emotional. Like, I don't know. I'm pretty open-minded about anything. And I don't know. It's just, it hits me, especially like late at night and stuff. It's just weird, but like gives me motivation to be like, all right, Nick, you don't have to make a sad song for things to hit you. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
It'll
the way
connect
music
how it's
is.
supposed to connect. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Music is the most insane thing ever, in my opinion.
Man, well, it's been awesome to chat. Is there any other things you think we need to go down the rabbit hole in on your story?
Oh, you guys should all download Chris's podcast. Everyone listen. And I do have an EP coming out soon.
Sweet.
So if anyone wants to check that out, it should be coming out. And then I'll be releasing a bunch of new singles. I'm taking a different approach this time.
When people are getting their surfboards and going on the World Wide Web, where do you want them to go find all your stuff?
Yeah, so if you type in Nick Hames on Google, my website should pop up. You can go to nick-hames.com. There's links there, or you can just type in Nick Hames on Spotify, Instagram. I do encourage people to listen to my music. So you can check Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube. Just type in my name, and then it should pop up.
No trolls, but if people want to reach out and say, what they think about the tunes, where do you want them to connect with you directly? So
I'm pretty much addicted to Instagram, so I will respond to your message. I try to see them all. So yeah, Instagram, or you can probably Instagram's the best. Yeah, that's the one I use the most. So come say hello. Come say, I love your stuff. Come say you're awful. Bring on the trolls. Nah.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, thanks for sharing all your time. Thanks for, talking about launching a career and, how do I deal with all these metrics and all this. We'll have to have you on again sometime in the future, or, you come down to Kentucky, we'll treat you good.
Yeah, I'd love to.
But for Nick and Chris, we appreciate you. Everybody, remember, give more grace, share more love, and make more music. All right. I hope you enjoyed that chat with Nick. Go ahead and pre-save his upcoming EP on Spotify or Apple Music, whatever you listen with. Check out his tunes and just give him a shout out while we're all kind of in this weird holding ground space of life right now. Go ahead and check out our Instagram at make.more.music. You can join in our music wellness challenge on there. It's got some different things like challenge you to improvise, compose, to share music, different things you can do. And just keep up as we have some other bonus content and stuff rolling out in the near future. Thanks for tuning in. If you have a guest you want to recommend, you can do so at makemoremusicpodcast@gmail.com. Otherwise, I'll catch you on the next one. Remember, give more grace, share more love, make more music.